Hello and welcome back, everybody, to the Collective Minds podcast. Tonight you got me, Astral, and also Ledger. Tonight we're just gonna really talk about a few things, some hot topics here. But before we get into that, I want to bring this up to everybody, which is we're doing pretty good on Rumble and really tired of this YouTube stuff. So the link's gonna be in the description. I'm gonna add it to the video. Hopefully enough of you guys go to Rumble. That way we can end up just completely cutting YouTube out. This is never a YouTube thing. We have our podcast website. We're on over 2,000 directories. So wherever you want to listen, preferably Rumble though. That way we don't have to censor ourselves and we can actually talk about the things we actually want to talk about without getting banned and attacked and shadow banned, all that good stuff. We're also getting quite the following there on Rumble and views as well. So apparently our niche audience is digging it over there. So let's get into this, Ledger.
Yep, let's do it.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
So I made a short about this. I deleted it, but I want to talk about this with everyone, which is if anyone knows who Steve from How to Hunt is, he has a channel on Rumble. And it's like Pro Guide something something. I can actually find that real quick. Right here. Okay, Pro Guide 66 on Rumble. Ours on Rumble is just Collective Minds, not the Collective Minds podcast or the Collective Minds. It's Collective Minds, capital C, capital M. But he just posted one of his great videos on his Rumble channel. Same reason we doing the same thing because of YouTube. But there's like a psychic lady on there, and she's talking about how pretty much she had called the whole COVID business before it happened. She also called something else about how because of how many people didn't give their kids the poke that they are now going to be putting certain stuff inside of cough and cold and flu medication for children. Interestingly, at the same time, there's now a quote shortage of children's medication, cough and cold. There isn't a shortage on the natural ones though, but certain ones are coming out. People are scooping them up. My guess is if any of it is true, is that they're pulling the regular ones and making people fight over these new ones that have certain things in them that are doing certain stuff. Because where's the breakdown on that? Not sure. I'm sure they'll blame that on China.
Sure, trust natural stuff than stuff that was made in the lab, like medicine.
I would, but you got to look at who's
Yeah,
making it too. Because sometimes you'll get the same people that make the non-natural stuff making what they call natural stuff.
yeah, and
It's
it's
the
the
same.
same
It's the
thing.
same stuff. Yeah. It might be more natural, less fake sugar in it or something, but
Yeah,
you'll know if it's natural if your kids don't really like it. that's what I go by. Either way, they're all expensive as shit. So, all right, just wanted to bring that up because I deleted the short. Didn't turn out very well, and I'm not getting struck down for a short. But hopefully, here soon we won't have to worry about YouTube. So, interestingly, there's this giant fight right now with all these celebrities and NFL players and all sorts of athletes, and I mean they've
is it
been
a
happening.
unblock dead?
Yeah, that just dropped, and it's been happening to the soccer players a lot, but it's happening to everyone all over the place right now, and it's just giant like Snopes, fact checkers everywhere about anyone that dies. In 30 minutes, there's an article about it how anti-vacciners are saying this person even before anyone was even like, no, I'm sure I know what this is from. And it's interesting because I feel like I'm in this mix of this battle because not long ago, shark attacks were COVID related. You know, people, committing off in themselves, where those were COVID related. Everything in its dog that happened to anyone was COVID related, right? Now people start pointing fingers about
More money.
these people falling down, and it could quite possibly be linked. When they look into it, it's like they were most certainly boosted and all of it. But no, that can't be. No way. I just read an article stating that like stuff inside of it gets deleted out of your system for so long, and if it didn't, then you'd have a your body would have the
Yeah,
availability of fighting it off and stuff for much longer if it didn't, and it's all just bullshit.
would that be the case with that Demir guy or Dahmer guy or whatever?
I'm not sure who you're talking about. Who was it?
The NFL player, just like
Oh, yeah, exactly. That's exactly what happened.
yeah.
I know people love arguing about that. I mean, I can't say for sure, but I'm telling you right now. And we're going to see a lot more of it, is the problem. We're going to see a lot more. And then, what's his name from the Packers is going to look really smart right now here shortly. But they're covering it
And
up, and that's fine. They're going to do what they're going to do. We all know what's going on with that. So I want to talk about two documentaries real quick. For sure getting in trouble here. So I just watched the Missing 411, the UFO Connection, right? Dave Paulides' new Missing 411 movie. Very, very interesting because they're trying to bring the UFO connections to Missing 411, which is not a stretch at all. So we all know, or most people that follow it, like in the Dakotas, North and South Dakota, there's no missing people. People do not go missing there.
there's nobody there.
Right, but even in places where there's nobody, like people still disappear at some point. Like missing 411s, every state has one except just a couple. And it's right down the middle of the US. Now he connects in this movie how pretty much I want to see a video of a UFO taking off into space, right? Because of the whole false flag, like even when there was UFO reports back in the day, they were like conspiracy theorists, little Martian men. They're coming from outer space. But that's like psyops. That's red flag psyops right there. They want you to think, oh, it's like giving you a hint at what it is, but then calling you crazy if you believe it. But it's totally throwing you off track. However, there are tons of videos of these things, whatever they are, flying and disappearing into the water. Now, Dave Paulides correlates the reason there is no missing people in this right down the middle of the US is because that is where the biggest aquifer of underground water and its movement is underneath, is right down the middle of the US.
Where the Great Lakes at?
They're like east, northeast of that area. The aquifers are actually underground. It's it's like a lake if a lake had dirt over the top of it. So it'd be
So
like
above.
a gold mine, like in between the rocks, but it's water and it's huge. It's the biggest one in the United States. There's no like crazy UFO activity. There's no missing persons there, all that stuff. It's pretty gnarly. And the idea is why would you not be taking people around those areas to not draw attraction, right? Because around those states and everything around the US right there, surrounding that area, they are scooping them up and then they're disappearing into water. Maybe that's where whatever these things are residing. And that's pretty much what the whole story, what this missing 411, the UFO connection comes into, is that the one place where they're just possibly like disappearing into has no taken or abducted or any of these people at it. And it's a pretty crazy story. Pretty crazy stories. There's one where this being comes and this guy's hunting elk. And that's been one for a while that people go missing when they're picking berries or elk hunting. It's like the biggest ones when they're out in the woods. And this being comes down and like talks to him and takes him away and then is like gonna abduct his ass fully and then realizes it's like we can't have you because he has a well he figured it was because he was he got snipped so he couldn't make babies anymore and they sent his ass back. They brought his ass back. But there's other stories of that, of this thing that's only 7 by like 5 feet wide, small object, not a UFO you would think, and it picks up an elk. Like it flies over an elk and the elk doesn't move, and then it pulls it up, no string, no nothing attached to it, starts moving away, and then bumps into a tree, and then flies off with the elk. And they end up finding the elk later, like a week or two later, just dropped somewhere. That sounds like a
So
drone to me, right? Not like some futuristic, super intelligent thing. It bumped into a tree before it took off. That sounds like a drone.
yeah. So you said it was North and South Dakota?
Yeah, but most of it's in like South Dakota,
Okay,
reaching
yeah.
into
So
other
so
states.
well, because North Dakota has it'd probably be in Nebraska then, correct?
It's all around there. Like the aquifers, you'll
It's
see. I'll put a
central.
picture of it in this, but it's huge and it goes like straight down. It's the
I
middle of
mean,
the United
South
States.
Dakota doesn't have a coast. North Dakota does, but yeah. What's it called again? Aqua what?
It's an aquifer. So it's the largest aquifer in the United States. And it's right down the middle of the country. And it's very interesting because missing 411 people they always disappear somewhere close to water in
They
granite.
pulled they pulled a Walt Disney.
Really? What do you mean?
Either that or I'm spelling it wrong. I looked up aquifer US and it's pulling up with a lotion.
That's you spelled aquifer wrong.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
Just type it like largest aquifer in the United States. So here's the thing too, though, is that missing 401, the
Yeah,
people
these
that
are
go missing coincide directly with the human trafficking highways in the United States, which also coincide, we've talked about this before, with the underground tunnels.
okay. So yeah, it's not in North Dakota. A little bit of it is in South Dakota. It's mainly in Nebraska, down into Texas.
So
Uh,
that's the biggest one, but there's one that's almost as big that's attached to that that's right above it. Just
uh,
look up United States aquifers.
yeah. Okay. Yeah, I see what you're talking
Yeah.
about.
Yeah.
Um, so there's that. Yeah, and then so just straight in the middle of South Dakota, there's none. But at the top, the left and the bottom,
Hmm.
there's there.
So
Yeah,
then
North Dakota's still.
pull up like the missing 411 map as well, and you'll be able to see what I'm talking about. But that's what he shows in that movie. And then the missing 411. Everyone needs to hear this. These are different things. The missing 411 map coincides with the human trafficking map as well as the underground tunnels map. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's a lot over there. There is a lot over on this side, on the left side of the map.
Yeah, on in through
And
Washington, Oregon,
right,
California. Yeah,
yeah.
because it goes straight down to Mexico too. If you see the Mexico map,
Hmm.
but it follows with the missing 411 and the underground tunnels, which is like
Yeah,
where they.
there's none in North Dakota or South Dakota.
Mm-mm. Isn't that
Whoa.
interesting? But they both have
There's
giant aquifers underneath them.
Yeah, it says Oklahoma has one, Texas doesn't, Wyoming does, New Mexico does, all down from there down to New Mexico, from Washington State all the way down to New Mexico. There's a lot in Oregon and Washington State.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna move.
Salem, Eugene, and Portland. That's what it is.
Yeah, it's main is in the inner cities, you think?
Yeah, it is it's the main highways and then huge populated areas by or that those main highways run past or run through.
Yeah.
Most certainly. It's scary though. But the crazy thing is it's on the coast, right? Which is pretty gnarly, which are
Mhm.
major highways anyway, because it's like the biggest cities in the United States. But also, what is those lands surrounded by? Fucking oceans,
Mhm.
giant bodies of
Yeah,
water.
so it's mainly yeah, the Pacific has over on that side has a lot more.
Uh-huh. So the idea is these
Well,
things, whatever they are
like
residing mainly in the middle of the US, working the edge of the US to go underwater to make it to them.
yeah. Yeah, over by like New York over there over in the Atlantic, there's a lot.
Yeah, all the
Here,
east
there's
and
a
west
lot.
coast. It's pretty gnarly. Very interesting, I thought. Thought I'd bring that. And then how that one bumped into a tree. That's not what you'd think if you
Yeah.
were thinking alien, right? All right, good, good, good. So the next one, um, let's go to it. So the next little documentary there I wanted to go over to was the movie Died Suddenly, which they have totally attacked, right? And have been like, it's all BS, just like with the other documentary about certain voting aspects of certain things that put certain people into certain places in our government. But it's bullshit. They can't disprove any of this stuff. And this is where I think is interesting. This is actually one of the most interesting aspects of this is you go and look at the reviews because they say this is all BS, whatever. You got people of all sorts of blue, red, left, white, green, yellow, all sorts of people on any spectrum of any political standpoint. And they're going, no, this is bullshit. I know someone that got the poke and then all of a sudden they were completely healthy. They're dead now. Everyone has a story like that, and that's what they can't cover up. However, they can ignore it. They've done a good job at that. But I don't want to talk about the movie entirely. I want to point something else out that they didn't point out. Everyone put your tinfoil hats on here, but go watch the videos of these people that have died suddenly. And I'll tell you, from what I've seen, the videos that I've seen, about 70 to 80% of them have all had a cell phone in their hand when they fell and died. Riddle me that one. So I don't know what's going on. I don't know if they're all connected. I have no idea. But you watch the videos and all of them before they start doing the crazy circle spin and reaching for something like it's trying to get them, they drop their cell phone and they fall over and die. Just wanted to point that out for people that may have missed it, because I'm sure tons of people missed it. But we sat here and played through it, and a lot of the videos you can't tell if they did or not, but a lot of them you can. They blatantly have a cell phone in their pocket, or not in their pocket, in their hand, or in their pocket, but mostly in their hand. So let's talk about these clots. They're calling certain things. They are not what they're calling them. So they're saying the poke is giving these clots right inside of your veins and stuff, and it's not. They're not regular ones. They're white tissue, artificial tissue clots is what they are. Saw a video of someone trying to make it outside of a body, and that was pretty interesting, but they're artificial. It's not your body making them. It's chemical reactions of some sort. So just so people understand that. And it's white tissue. It's not the red that you think it is. It could have ends on it that are red and bloody, but it's not. What they're pulling out is thick super glue like tissue clots that are white, and when tested, they're like artificial fibers, like artificial tissue. So that's interesting. It's like growing some sort of meat plant inside of your body. But that couldn't have anything to do with all the died and suddenly stuff. So,
No, no, that definitely couldn't. No.
and you see a lot of that in that documentary Died Suddenly, where they're pulling it out of arteries, which you never find clots in arteries because they're so big, and they, you know what I mean, like they blow so much blood through so healthily that nothing clogs that. You don't clog an artery. These things are growing up the arteries, which is how doctors like go into your heart and create stents and stuff, is through major arteries, because it goes straight up to your heart. So that's what's happening. We just need to figure out why or what that exactly is. Ledger, what's that thing inside of old thermometers?
Oh, mercury.
Mercury. Yeah. I saw a test done with mercury and something else, and they hold it, they drill it out and fill it with mercury, and it slowly creates these things that look just like it. So I'm wondering if that could be it. Not entirely sure, but it could be.
All right, let's do it.
All right. So let's jump into this. Let's do a little news blitz here. So how's the weather been here, Ledger?
Oh, well, it was very snowy, and then it is like way hot now.
Right? And last week there was a day in between the hot where it fucking snowed, and then the next day was 50 degrees.
Yeah,
That's weird. That's really weird for here. So, yeah, we are on the West Coast. The West Coast remains under the target of a relentless parade of cyclones that form and intensify over the Pacific Ocean. The National Weather Service said in a forecast on Sunday. So, yeah, in other words, California is getting its dick kicked in right now
good.
by storms, and a few people have died, but their power grid, that's the crazy thing. It looked like 50% of all the power there went out at some point. What a push for global warming agenda and windmills. They're probably like, here soon they're going to be like, if we just put up so many windmills, if we just wait and these weird storms that never happen blow through, it's going to give us so much power. You could finally charge your fucking Tesla.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? And the way the storms are built and stuff,
So dumb.
people are thinking they're
I want
not
to go to one of the,
natural, that they're like
I want to go.
harp
I
storms
want,
and shit.
I want to get like a real nice big old diesel and just depending on the year, probably delete it, straight pipe it, make it real cool. Go buy one of those damn
Yeah,
oh
drive it
no one of
through.
those. Driver through their protests,
Just
yeah.
black smoke them. Yeah.
And then or eat McDonald's in front of vegans.
Oh, vegans. Yeah.
Big old steak.
Sound like a patriot. You know, and I've never been about like destroying the planet or whatever, because you know what I mean, like with these factories and shit. But it's like all big conglomerates and stuff to do that. And they try to convince you your car is doing it. Then you learn about the private jets doing like 800% more than like the fucking regular people driving cars. But it's weird. And the US government has already admitted that they can manipulate the weather. Other countries have manipulated the weather, and China actually did change the weather for
Isn't it a
for the Beijing Olympics like a few years back. They actually changed the
yeah?
weather. They actually were like, yeah, we do it now too, which is funny. It's like
Didn't they
North
used to
Korea.
say that it was with AM radio?
Yeah, it's AM radio frequencies. It's
Yeah.
frequencies into it. That's the thing. Yeah. So hold on. So it's China telling us they can change the weather and actually doing it is like North Korea saying they can launch a nuclear weapon, which maybe they can now. You know what I mean? But it's still like whatever we've had for a long time, and we've been doing it. You know, HARP was I knew about HARP like 15 years ago, dude. They've been doing it ever since.
Or-
Yeah, it's HAARP.
Oh yeah.
It's these
Okay.
giant antenna systems using that radio frequency to change the weather, which they've had the capability for a long time.
Oh
It's
yeah.
just like how they can send a missile into a tornado. It changes the compression and shit. It changes all the power of the tornado pretty much, like the air pressure. And then
Mhm.
there's no tornado left, which is interesting.
Why don't they do it?
Exactly, because when you look at it, tornadoes can cause like these giant ones can cause like 10 billion in damages, right? But what? It's $150,000 fucking rocket that they shoot into the middle of it and just dissipate it and it goes bye bye. Why would they not do that? Very interesting. Could be like a money laundering scheme, could be just a whatever. But people say Mother Nature is a crazy bitch, and that's true. But it seems like sometimes Mother Nature is getting directed by certain elitist entities, which could be possibly be our government. So I think this whole weird weather we're seeing right now is to help fulfill the green agenda. But it's weird. I've never seen this kind of weather. And climate change happens entirely by itself. I mean, I was looking at reports of like the Gobi Desert and shit didn't exist just not very long ago. On maps they wrote back in like the 1500s, there was no desert there.
Maybe it was an ocean. They weren't telling us.
Well, it was like an ocean or a rainforest or something. All of a sudden, it was just boom, a desert. Like it changes that fast, but they don't want you to believe that. Maybe that way they can influence. It's weird. I don't know what the plan there is, but crypto.
Good old crypto.
I'm seeing a trend.
Are ya?
Yeah,
What's that trend?
it's all bounced up a little bit. It's growing. It looks like a couple years before it actually got big. You know, because it did the whole big drop and everything went flat and shit. Now, if everyone goes and looks at their coins and stuff, like I didn't pull out at the right time, I'm like, I'll be doing good if it gets back to where it is, like real good. Nothing crazy. So I just I don't put money into shit unless it was gold and silver. But crypto seems to be slowly rising, but it's actually hit like, you know, instead of just going up at an angle slowly, it looks like it hit a plateau where now it's like holding itself there. So I believe this year is actually going to be a really good year for crypto. I know you're not that big into it, Ledger, but
Yeah.
from what
I
I'm
still
seeing,
like what's going on.
yeah, I'm gaining money back is what I can see, but I'm seeing the statistics on the charts, and if you look at it from like a year or a year and a half or whatever, you're seeing that it's actually going, it's sitting better than it was, and it sat there so shitty for so long that I think it's actually starting to gain traction again. And who
Well, you
knows?
do realize that the last couple of days were full moons, right?
Well, there's that, and then where else are people going to be able to put their money?
McDonald's stock.
I mean, you can buy gold and silver still, which is a very, very, very good idea. But with the dollar dropping like it is, there's only a couple other things that kind of value off of the dollar, but are not as well,
Yeah.
which is hard metals. If you can find them, I feel like here shortly we're going to see People are only going to be able to get the paper slips. Do you know that a lot of people have bought gold and silver but never got the gold and silver? They just buy this paper saying I owe you this much gold and silver.
What?
Isn't
It's
that
just
fucking
IOU?
insane? Yeah, that's how they fucked the economy. That way too is by printing all these papers saying here's your gold and silver, and they don't have enough of it to back it up. People are gonna go, I want my gold and silver, I want my gold and silver, because the dollar just went to shit and nothing's worth anything anymore, and they're gonna go, oh, we don't have that gold and silver. We don't have that
Yeah.
crypto either. But I don't know. All I'm seeing is good news for the crypto universe for anyone interested in that. I wish I got in now than before. If it goes up to where it was, I'll be like 800% of what I put into it. So if it goes past that, be making some money. Use it to buy something pretty, right? So that's it, guys. That's all I got for tonight. Unless
Oh,
you got
I,
anything
I
else,
actually, I actually do have something.
let's do it.
You and I have talked about it a couple times. So y'all know how you guys know how they were saying that our phones were always watching us. Well, I recently got the Oculus Quest 2, and if you have one, you'll know what I mean. But so you have a boundary that you step in and you play from, and that's the whole like VR world. But if you step outside of that, it all turns gray, and it's like in real life, like everything, but it's all gray. And when you look at a screen, it's very white, like bright, because of the sensors or something. So they say, and so I looked at my phone and I seen that it was blinking every 5 seconds, like my camera. Even when it's off, doesn't matter the app. Like, because I was thinking some apps have different, like the terms and conditions. So I checked that. No, even if my phone was like the screen was off, it still did it. I did not look and see if the phone was completely off, like shut down. It still did it, but yeah.
You know what it is, though, right?
What?
So you're able to unlock your phone with your face. Right?
Yeah.
But there's
Yeah.
also who we just got that weird beep again. We also got a there's a setting that happened a few years back that was it your phone can tell if you're looking at it or not. That way it can like shut itself off and save battery. You know,
Oh.
because if you're like have your phone open and you're looking at something and not touching anything,
Hmm.
the older ones would shut off unless you touched it. These ones now don't. But yeah, very interesting how it's flashing at you every 5 seconds to see if you're looking at it.
Yeah. Didn't you check that too? Did you see that?
Yeah, I did see it. But that's why is because we say, okay, that's fine. Like our phone can make sure we're looking at it to save battery, but it's not about saving battery. How much battery does it use taking like a weird flash picture of you every couple seconds? It's not even a picture, it's scanning. It's like, it's kind of like a picture, I guess, but I just wonder where that shit's saved and who's looking at it. We're out here in a second. Just a reminder though, make sure to like, subscribe, share, whatever it is, whatever platform you're on. And remember to check out our Rumble. We're really trying to move there permanently. We don't get much traction on YouTube because we've been shadow banned since day one because of what we like to talk about. We are